Let's talk a little bit about what you see happening now, Governor, and what do you see happening now if we do get a Republican Senate, whether that will change Washington in the next 2 years, whether it will be more of the same, what?
Well, look, and I'm sitting here, you know, we've had a great night in Indiana, and I think we're having a good night in America. And the story is very much about control of the Senate. I know the national attention is focused there, but I have to tell you, I think there ought to be just as much focus on these governor's races, because I really do believe the cure for what ails this country is going to come more from our nation's state capitals than it ever will from our nation's capital. And I think if Republicans win the majority of the Senate tonight and renew their majority in the House, which they certainly will, they ought to be looking for opportunities in the near term to give more states freedom and flexibility to create the kind of solutions we've been able to create here in the state of Indiana. I mean, whether it's transportation or health care or education, I think they're kind of the tail of the tape here, Neil. The American people are they're fed up with Washington, D.C., but they see real solutions happening. That's why I think you're going to see a lot of Republican successes, and you're seeing successes at the state level in these governor's races tonight. You know,
Governor, I don't know what leads to the new face or faces of the Republican Party after tonight, but former GE Chairman Jack Welch was telling me this past weekend that he thinks Republicans should go outside the proverbial petri dish of mainstreamers, to say they should get someone galvanizing. He mentioned Ted Cruz, he mentioned Rand Paul, he dropped your name, the people who were not fitting with the typical Republican in crowd. I don't know whether that's a disparaging comment about you or not, but that they need more, you know, rock the vote type of Republicans. Do you agree with that?
Well, I think, I mean, the focus tonight is on today's election. And in terms of what our party needs going forward, I really do believe that our party needs to once again not only be a party that's about solutions, but I think we ought to be a party that is not just the other party with Washington solutions, that we are again the party of Ronald Reagan. You know, Ronald Reagan, in his first inaugural address, said it's important to remember the states created the federal government.
Governor, I'm sorry, very quickly, we are calling New Hampshire now for Jeanne Shaheen, that Scott Brown has failed his attempt to become only the second man in more than a century to serve as a senator from 2 different states. He failed in that bid tonight. Many are disappointed as a result there, and that was a pickup they had hoped to see. I think going into tonight, it was very remote, but nevertheless, because the polls have been closing, people were getting excited. What do you make of just what happened there?
Well, I think Scott Brown ran a fantastic campaign. He articulated an optimistic vision and made what was a tall hill a real race. And I give a hat tip to him and thank him for what he and his family have gone through. But I think we got a good night unfolding, not only in these Senate races, but watch these governor's races, Neil. The American people are recognizing that we've got to not only change the leadership in Washington, which I believe we will in the Senate, I believe we'll win the majority, but the American people are turning to Republican leadership at the state level. That's what our national leadership has got to focus on, state-based solutions, be able to do what we've been doing here in Indiana.
I apologize, Governor, for jumping on you with that heartbreak approaching. Always good seeing you, my friend. Thank you.
You too.